So today we have a very interesting topic called internal controls and corporate governance. This is a quite small topic and it will finish quickly, but it's really important and very useful in our day-to-day life. So the first topic with the things to learn is corporate governance, legal aspects of internal controls, risk and internal controls, and internal auditing. Because we are CMA, we will be management accountant, so we have to deal with all the departments, not only with accounting or say finance. We have to deal with HR, performance, corporate, production, legal. So we should know when we sit with the auditors how they think, what is required, and top of it, we should know that what are the internal auditing requirements in order to bring a good governance or administration in the company. So we are not going to be an auditor at all, but we are trying to understand that how we can be a better contributor in terms of auditing, in terms of in running the company's affairs. So let's start our discussion. And the first is the definition of corporate governance. Now, corporate is an American word which means a large size entity. A big company is called incorporation, like Microsoft, Oracle incorporations. And then we have governance. Governance means administration or operations. So the governance is the combination of people, policies, procedures, and processes. It's a definition of governance. So it's combined. Say we have attendance machine, there is a human resource, there is a software, there are policies that you have to come on this time. If you don't come, you will be marked absent. If you don't come 3 days on time, you will be suspended, for example. So these kind of things comes as a part of the governance. So governance is a combination of people, policies, procedures, and processes that helps ensure the management that organization is working effectively and efficiently. So this definition is very important. It should be in your mind. It will help you to sort some kind of multiple choice questions. Now, how can we bring good governance in our company? There are two ways. One is internally and one is externally. It's the same like if you want to do CMA, you have to do two things. One is yourself and one I will do externally. So combination of external and internal bring a good governance. Same way, in a company, we will bring good staff, good softwares, good system, good procedures. But on the other hand, side by side, government will also guide us. They will have compliances, they have rules, regulations, systems. So corporate governance can be internal and external. Internal means you have bylaws. In British English, we call it as memorandum of article. In American language, we call it bylaws. Board of directors and internal audit functions, they are internal. So, but the laws, regulation, and the government regulators who enforce things that we have to follow as a compliance, they are externals. Now, this diagram is really interesting, and it's actually going to sort out this chapter for you because that's what we are going to discuss. If you understand this diagram, 70% of the chapter will be clear. So imagine this is a company like Microsoft. So it should have a corporate organizational structure. So this is the structure. How structure works is, this is the company. Suppose most of us are employees, so we are somewhere here, and we have a CEO who is handling the show of the company. He does everything for us, and he is the one who is actually setting up, getting up, and giving leadership to the company. So Now you can see that this portion is the board of directors, mean the shareholders who are the owner of the companies. So how the listed and big companies work? People buy their shares, they become owner. The majority owners become a board member of the board of directors, and they make some committees for salaries, salary committee or composition committee, nomination committee, audit committee, and risk committee. What are committee? Committee is actually a word that shows that at least two people sit together to decide the factors related to risk. So we will say this is a risk committee. Now, two brains are better than one. And it is also studied that one person can do fraud, but a group fraud is difficult to do. So, and you can catch is quite likely. And so risk committee is really, really important. Audit committee is also very important. What are these committees? I will tell you once the respective information will come. So far, we are looking to the structure. So company has been divided into two things. One is directors and one is officers. So these are officers like CEO, chief executive officer, chief financial officers. That's mandatory. You have to do it. If you haven't done this in your company, as if you are a listed company, then of course you are not in compliance. So these board of directors work is very interesting. They are not into day-to-day work at all. They just keep eye on a company by their strategic advisors. Means they meet the company officers maybe quarterly and at least once in a year in annual general meeting, and they ask them how it's going, what is the system, all these things. So they are the one who hire the CEO, because CEO reflects the vision of the shareholders. And very important, they also hire the head of internal audit. That's also directly hired by the directors through a committee called audit committee. Now, what is the concept in this corporate governance is that the board of directors, who are the owner of the company, they are working together. So what they do is they hire one person to run the company who is a CEO, and they hire the other person to audit this person. That is the head of internal audit. And in America, we call it as CAE, Chief Audit Executive. So CEO is the one who run the company, and Chief Audit Executive is the one who is keeping an eye on them. So that's how it works. So we have to keep the internal audit department independent. So they don't report to anyone in the company as officers. They only report to the shareholders. So, and there are external regulators like SEC, Securities Exchange Commission. In America, if you are a big company, you have to register through SEC, and SEC regulates you very well. And those people who have done their CPA certified public accountant, they are actually regulated by PCAOB. What is PCAOB? Public Companies Oversight Accounting Board. They give license to the CPA firms. So that's why they regulate the auditors, means CPA firms or internal or external auditors. An external auditor, once in a company, do audit for the whole company and report to shareholders. So you can see there are three major external people like SEC, PCAOB, and auditor. These are three external pressures on a company as a compliance. And then there's an internal auditor who is inside, and there is a board of directors who has committees. So a lot of corporate governance makes sure that the people money is protected and organization is working very effectively. So this is the structure, and now it's very easy. We have to discuss very simply, like what is the role of a CEO, what is the role of audit committee, what is the role of SEC. Now there is a bit of definitions. He says, what is a corporation? I already told you it's a legal entity, a company, a large company under a state statute to carry out persons permitted by the statute and the article of incorporations. So in America, we have to go to a secretary of state wherever you are. For example, you are in Florida, you are in New York, you are in Washington, D.C. There is an office for company registrar where you have to go and register your company, and they called it as a secretary of state office. Corporations are owned by shareholder. I already told you that the board of, then they select their board of director. They elect a board of director. Now, elect is an election word, means that there will be a voting, and then the highest voting taker will be in the board of directors. Now, article of incorporations means that what it actually says. In British language, it says MOA, Memorandum of Association, and in American language, we called it as Article of Incorporation. What does it mean? It tells you that what is the company name, what are the authorized share capital, what is the address of this company, what is the main activity, and who are the initial directors of these companies, right? So there are a couple of very important things mentioned in this. Detailed rules are in bylaws, means how many directors, what will be the meeting days, rules of hiring a director and firing a director is bylaws. That is, I just showed you here, bylaws, this one. Bylaws means rules and regulations. Now we have seen that there are different things in a diagram. One is the strategic direction, which is the role of the board. And then management is led by CEO, and the committees are at least 2 people. And we have some basic committees like audit committee, nomination committee, and the remuneration committee, which is for salaries. And we can have IT committee, risk committee, and a couple of other committees we can have.